Jacob Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. It's media day for the Utah Hockey Club. We're throwing things back over to the Delta Center to continue to hear from Andre Tourigny, the head coach, the Bear. Let's throw it back over.
Last summer to give fans kind of an idea of what they can expect from those guys.
No, I can't. Do you know why? Because I will give them a chance to show me tomorrow. You know what I mean? I don't know how much Cooley improved. I don't know how much Gunter improved. I don't know how much those guys improve. That's what I'm trying to stay away from, to have a picture of what I want them to be or what they were or whatever. I think I like our player. I know what they did last year. We give them an opportunity and every tools. And a lot of people in the organization work with them during the summer, and those guys are really good pro. So they will show up at the camp, and it's my job to evaluate what they will do, not what so-and-so say about him. So I understand your question, but I think to stay away as much as possible of what I would like to see. I want to stay in the present, and we'll see what I will see. They have to show me what they do. Bill's job is to project of, okay, that's where he was, and that's what we think he will be. My job is to stay more in the present and say, okay, that's what he was. Good. Now he had a summer to improve. Let's look what he is and go from there. Because if you played 20 minutes last year, should not be a give me it right now. We'll see what you give. If you give me for 18 minutes, you will play 18 minutes. That's it. Someone else will steal your job. That's what I have to do it. And it's not that easy, but I need to have that mindset.
Morning, Andre. Matt Como with NHL.com. At the present time, you've had a lot of additions to your defensive unit. At this time, as you get ready for camp, what are your thoughts on your blue line and what you've seen from your defensive unit?
I love the experience. I love the fact those guys been through. They did it in the past. I like the fact everybody's excited. The energy is to the roof everywhere we go. So that I'm really excited about the experience of Colsey, who played in different scenario, different coach, different situations. Bertuzzo, Marino, Sergei, all of those guys. So I think that had to the Dursey, the Valimaki, the Kessaring, Coley, and Connaughton, and all those guys who are coming. So I think we have a really good mix. I like the fact we have an answer for about everything on our back end. We have skill, we have toughness, we have good defender, we have experience, we have youth. I like it.
Coach Alex Tumop here from the Hockey News. It's good to be with you again. I asked Bill and Chris this question about the prospect pool. Just from your perspective as a coach, I know it's a tough question to answer right now because we haven't been on the ice yet. But when you're looking at these prospects who had such great performances like Owen and Mav, Julian, Mikko, among others, what does that say to you as a coach about the decisions you're going to have to make about who's going to be on the opening night roster and who's going to be going back? Like, how difficult is that decision going to be for you?
I like when people make my job miserable. That's a good news. I think as tough as they will make it, better it will be for us. At the end of the day, what's our job is to put the best team we can on the ice. So the best improvement is within. More, you asked earlier at Billy, I was listening about trade or this, or Billy has a different job than me. Billy's looking for trade, waivers, call-ups and whatever. I'm looking from improvement from the inside, and I'm not saying Billy doesn't, but I mean my job is within what we have. What's the best lineup? What's the best team we can have? What's the best system with what we have? And I cannot lose myself and start to play the GM of the day and trading player. That's not my job. My job is those guys, and how can we be the best team we can today with those guys.
Hi, Andre. Brogan Houston here from Deseret News. So I want to ask about your expectations for Mikhail Sergachev. So I did some digging. I found out that last year he was a 0 ± with Vasilevsky in net and a -16 without him in net. Now that you have not Andre Vasilevsky in net, you have still a good goalie, but nowhere near the Vezina caliber probably. do you expect Mikhail Sergachev to take a step forward, a step back, stay the same?
My expectation will be based on what Sergey will do on the ice. That's one. Having that said, you asked me earlier, I had discussion with Sergey, and he has his own expectation. And I want to give him the opportunity to answer those own expectations. And I'm guarantee you, Sergachev doesn't have the expectation to be a minus 16 player with someone else in the net. I guarantee you that. So he wants to be an elite player. He has the potential to be an elite player, and he's been an elite player in our league. He's been a point producer. He's been a big-time minute, and he's been a champion. And he played key minute in championship team. So we're super excited to have Sergey with us. I like my discussion with him because he's driven. He wants to be better. He wants to improve. He wants to contribute. He wants to be a big part of that team. And that's my expectation, is to give him the opportunity to do that. And my expectation is he will exceed our expectation. That will be fantastic.
Coach Dino Costa, SLC Sports Radio. Is it fair to say that you're looking for a lot of open competition in this training camp, and that you've already communicated that to the team before they hit the ice, that nothing is guaranteed? I know big makeover on the defense, a lot of experience was brought in, Marino, Sergachev, as you've mentioned, and some others. But are you stressing a lot of open competition during this training camp?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, again, a lot of competition will come from within. Because a little bit the example I give inside, I don't think we have anybody who wants to give up any ice time, but we have a lot of guys who wants more ice time. So that there's the competition. Who will be on the first power play unit? Who will be in the second? How many minutes the first unit will get versus the second unit? Who will play in the PK? Like I mentioned here, we have on the PK we have a lot of new experienced player. So they're coming to take the jobs of someone. So that is, you talk about competition, that's competition. That's right there. Everybody wants to have a better place, be in the better spot in the lineup, have a bigger role. That's normal. That's game on. Hunting season is starting tomorrow.
Mark Anderson, AP. After the uncertainty of the past couple seasons with this organization, to have stability now, what does that mean for you and the players?
It's a good question. It means the world. I think that I don't know if I will answer your question the way I should, but the way we've been received by the people. Everywhere I go, the other day we had dinner with Bertuzzo, Colzi, and Marino. I went to the restaurant, and people come to us and say they're really happy to have us, and they're excited about the season and everything. That makes us feel good. Makes us real. You want to deliver for those people. The way Ryan and Ashley talk to us and tell us how much they were all in, like they told you, but they back it up with action. And the way we start, when we came here in April, we did not have practice facility. We did not know where will be our practice facility. We were starting not from, okay, we need to build a locker room. No. We didn't even know where the hell will be that thing. So, and you look right now, every day I'm working at the Oval in my brand new office with glasses, and everything is in place. The commitment they made to our team to build that for 1 year, you talk about the jersey, that everywhere we go, that sell tickets and all of it, that has to register as a human being, and you have to feel special, and you have to feel all in and committed to deliver for those people. That's the way I feel.
Alex Silverman with Sports Business Journal back here.
Oh, there we go.
Just kind of piggybacking on that last question, have there been any challenges for you and the team associated with the change of scenery and just such a quick change?
No, honestly, that's another thing. I think the SEG, with the organization, the Jazz, they're fabulous. I'm not joking. They made it super easy for me. For me, it was just change instead to take that door, I took the next door, and I'm in my office. It's unbelievable. So from the moving, from the help for everything's been phenomenal. Players are excited. I think there's energy everywhere we go. Cannot ask for any better. Honestly, they super professional.
Hi, Kimbo Jorges with Axios Salt Lake City. Is there anything about Salt Lake City that makes you feel confident that this will be a good fit for the team? And is there anything you've seen from Utah Jazz fans that make you excited about coaching here?
The first thing is the way we've been received by the people inside the organization of the Jazz. They show their excitement to have us, and they were all in on deck, all in to help us, whatever need be. That was amazing. So from my neighbor and my new place, from everybody, has been really, really welcoming, and really, I really like the people, the way they talk to us and they interact, and everything has been really respectful. So that is one about the city. And you talk about the fans with the Jazz and the atmosphere in the building. I just heard about it all the time, how loud it is and how much the fans here in Utah, they rally behind their team, and they're loud, and they bring a lot of enthusiasm. I love that. I think that will give us the push in the darkest moment, which is on the long season. There's always a few dark moments, and if you can have a little push on those moments, I think it's always welcome. But it gives you the energy to give back to those fans. So I'm excited to see if how it will be, and everything pointing in the direction it will be special. But cannot wait to be behind the bench and having the chill.
Coach, with training camp starting tomorrow, your first exhibition game's Sunday in 3 days. What's the process for the first couple of days of camp, and what do you guys try to do to get ready for that first preseason game?
There's a plan of, we can go technical on what we want to work on the ice and that kind of a stuff, and we have a planification, and then we have a projected roster, which will change for the same reason you ask. There's competition. There's, I ride on one hand and they race with the other one. That slows down the process of the work, but that's the way it is. You try to plan ahead. But the most important thing for me is tomorrow. And then after it will be the next day. And then will be the next day. And then what will happen on Sunday? It's too far ahead. We have 3 practices. We need to make sure the first practice is our best practice. And then after, we need to regroup as a coaching staff, make sure we plan the best for the next day, adjust what we have planned, and making sure we will be the best the second day. If we get better every day, that we will be in the right track. So I use the law of the 1%. If we can be 1% better tomorrow, perfect, we won the day. Next day, do the same. In 100 day, you can do the math. It will be much better. So that's my only focus, is to be better 1% every day.
Thank you, Coach. We'll be back in a few minutes with some players.
Thank you, everyone.
That is Coach Tourigny, Andre Tourigny. It is media day for the Utah Hockey Club meeting. We'll be checking in over at the Delta Center quite a bit, so stay tuned. We're going to have, as you heard, players coming up, so we're very much looking forward to that. Ben, it's good to see you.
And you?
What's going on?
Doing well. Happy to have Utah Hockey Club Media Day.
Yeah, actually, it's really exciting. It's been super interesting so far. We've had Coach Bear on our show. He's
Is that last Wednesday?
Was it? Yeah, it was last Wednesday.
Yeah.
He's great.
Yeah. No, excited. It's very cool this is here. This is a big launching point, and obviously going into training camp and some of the announcements they have made today. If you missed it, they announced it, or at least it kind of sounds like Chris Armstrong said. He's the president of the Utah Hockey Club. It sounds like there's going to be snow inside the Delta Center. I don't know if that's after goals. I don't know if that's just the opening night. I don't know if that's after wins, like the Sacramento Kings light the beam. But I like the idea of it snowing inside the Delta Center. That sounds like fun.
Well, like flock? Because, I don't know, that could get messy.
It's a hockey game, buddy.
Or maybe squall?
A squall? Yeah.
Is that a hint to the team name?
Oh, that'd be cool. No, that's not going to be the team name, but that'd be cool.
Or Blizzard?
Well, you know that Christmas
Blizzard
tree?
would make some sense.
That
but it also works for Yeti.
Christmas tree flock I'm talking about? You know what the
fake
white,
stuff.
yeah, the fake
No,
stuff.
it's real snow.
It's really messy.
I imagine it's real snow, and they should just shoot it onto the ice and try and avoid getting it on fans as much as possible.
Just as long as it doesn't hail.
Like yesterday,
hailing.
golf ball size hail would not be ideal.
That would not be a great promotion.
But I like snow.
Well, I've got these bumps all over my. Well, I went to the hockey game last night and it hailed.
Bruised.
It's Wednesday and we expect to be very busy. So, good news for our early listeners. We're going to do Win Ticket Wednesday right now. Caller number 12, 801-575 zone. We're going to hook you up with a pair of tickets to go see Pitbull at Utah First Credit Union Amphitheater on September the 25th. Tickets will be sent electronically via Live Nation. So, caller 12 right now, you're going to see Pitbull, 801-575 zone. All right, we'll step aside for a moment. We'll hopefully hear from some players coming up right around the corner. Jake and Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Jake and Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Want to remind you to nominate the youth sports volunteer you know for the Hercules Hero of the Week. Submit your nomination at kslsports.com/contest. And listen every Thursday afternoon to JJ and Alex for the winner. Help us celebrate the efforts of those volunteers making an impact with the Hercules Hero of the Week, sponsored by Hercules First Federal Credit Union and Beehive Meals. Ben, we're going to hear from the players, hopefully coming up here shortly as Utah Hockey Club Media Day rolls on. So we'll kind of stand by for that. But in the meantime, we can tread a little water. We're professionals. We know
Done a radio show before.
We know what we're doing. You and I focus a lot on the NBA. Big NBA news today, Ben, and it actually comes from the world of NBA media. Adrian Wojnarowski is going to retire from not only ESPN, but like news in general.
Good for him. Whatever.
He's going to be the GM of men's basketball at St. Bonaventure.
Yeah, it's not a real job either, so good for him.
No, that's not a real job.
And yeah, the handling name, image, and likeness. It's like, well, you're the number one donor to St. Bonnie's, Woj, so okay. It's just you telling them more of where your money's going to go and where your money's not going to go. I suspect Shams will just backfill. Shams left Yahoo or Stadium, whatever he was doing last, whatever his last official spot was. He has left that, announced he left that in the last month and a half or so, kind of quietly. So I would suspect he's just filling in for Woj here. I actually hope, and I get fans like it, I kind of hope this disrupts the way business has been done. And I promise you I'm not saying this from a selfish perspective, as someone who also covers the NBA. But the way you're fed information right now is, teams will tell the media, hey, we've got an announcement coming out noon or whatever. Sometimes they'll tell you that. Sometimes they don't. And then Woj will just drop it at 11:50, also with the exact same information that he's been fed from the team. It's like,
yeah,
the idea that Woj is scrounging around sources is actually not accurate anymore.
Well, it used to be true.
He has done a very good job building himself into becoming the most trusted outlet in the NBA.
Right.
That is real work. He's absolutely earned that. I'm not trying to diminish Woj at all. This isn't sour grapes. I'm not trying to make it sound that way. But you are actually getting a really sanitized version of what is going on.
Oh, he turned from being somebody who wants to break stories and do news to somebody who's manipulated.
Yeah,
and is just
fully manipulated.
Is just the mouthpiece of. It wouldn't surprise me if now, like Woj used to have these, or maybe he still does, I guess, but these draft sources where he would beat the NBA and ESPN or whoever was airing the draft on the draft selections. And the NBA, and I know this, Ben, because I've talked to people that know, hated it.
Yeah.
Hated it. And worked very hard to prevent it. Let me put it that way. And then all of a sudden overnight, they just embrace it at one point. Like I wouldn't be surprised if he's directly handed the picks now. You know what I mean? So it's he changed. And you can tell based on the stories who's telling him the stories.
And if you would ask why would teams do this, Woj has 6.5 million Twitter followers. Only 2 NBA teams have more than Woj.
It gives it legitimacy.
Yeah, right. It gets the name out quicker. I mean, he's double most NBA teams as far as like Twitter followers go, so it's a quicker way to spread it. But also, yes, he has established such legitimacy that by him saying it, you kind of think it's coming from media, and it's really not.
And I'm going to miss him because the one person that he doesn't just buckle to is LeBron James and Clutch.
Yeah.
And I remember when Anthony Davis was crying his way out of New Orleans. a slow playing his way out of New Orleans, which is just typical. But the reporting that went back and forth, and you could tell one was coming from the team, and the other it was Woj v. What's his name? Who's also with ESPN? Your guy,
Windy.
the Windbag.
Yeah, Windhorst.
Who's just a clutch guy.
Yeah.
See, I wonder. I bet the Windbag would want to bite at the apple of the big NBA reporter, right?
I don't know if this job stinks.
LeBron's got to be
Woj's job
celebrating today,
stinks.
right?
Woj's job's terrible. Shams' job's terrible. And going back to what I said about Shams, I just pulled it up from Sports Business Journal. Insider Shams Charania is this is from August 19th. This isn't news today. Decided to leave Stadium after 6 years. Sharania's other deals with The Athletic and FanDuel TV are also coming up. Meaning he's just trying to hit the market.
And go to ESPN.
Wherever. It's a good time to hit the market.
Well,
if
the
you're
Mouse
Shams.
has the money, and there's a spot open. And I'll tell you what, Woj was making a lot of money.
A lot of money. There's a reason he can retire at whatever age he is.
And still be St. Bonaventure's highest donor.
Yeah, right. So I would suspect that's where this is trending. I hope we do get a more organic type of media in the NBA. I'm not setting my hopes all that high because I do think Shams just takes over the role and becomes the only guy. And then Chris Haynes kind of fills in for the Shams role, which is the number 2 guy. But
see, I love Chris Haynes.
I like Chris B. Haynes,
I think
too.
he's great.
Yeah, Chris B. Haynes, not
No,
Chris B. Haynes.
I think he's actually still in the news business.
He is.
I don't
Absolutely
know if what role he'll fill or whatever, but I think that dude actually is still. I mean, he broke the Gordon Hayward story. Remember when Hayward left? And neither side, neither Gordon nor the Jazz, nor the Celtics for that matter, wanted that story out, and he broke it.
Yeah,
he's great. I always follow Chris B. Haynes.
So I hope this actually is a disruption for the better. I know there's some people who love Woj bombs and love that aspect of the NBA. It's just a little more artificial than I think people recognize, or maybe have even caught up to. I'm sure some people recognize the deal.
Well, the Mouse's basketball coverage is awful, and this will make it worse.
Yeah.
So they should go get Shams, I guess, because they got to do something. I mean, they're still paying for Tim Legler to get facelifts.
Right. So
somehow that guy's still on TV.
Yeah.
He can't even blink.
Right.
Have you seen him lately? It's crazy.
So we'll see. But no, Woj has been great at his job, and I certainly enjoyed it as well.
And Armpit's been bringing Shams on instead of Woj,
right? You're right. And that could be laying the groundwork also for not burning Woj out necessarily so much as ESPN saying, hey, Shams could be the next guy. You're the best positioned to continue to marry those names, ESPN and Shams together, before we officially announce it. That would make sense. Good point.
Man, the Mouse just continues to sell itself to Armpit. He's going to have his own Disneyland ride soon.
The Pit.
The Pit. I don't even want to know.
You just get sprayed with liquid that you don't know what it is, and it smells weird. It's a combination of BO and Axe body spray. Just what I imagine he smells like. That's what, and you get a serum. You can buy a tank top in the gift shop on your way out the door.
Oh, it's so funny. Good one, Ben. That's true. That is. But yeah, the Armpit wasn't having Woj bombs on. He was having Shams on.
No, that's smart of you. You're right. That's what's been going on.
So, who knows? I guess I wonder, I'm asking myself, I wonder how many people care. But to your point about Woj, lots of people care. He's the
outlet.
He was the, what do they call the NBA reporter of record? Like the New York Times.
Yeah.
Like when you go back in the NBA history, you look at what Woj said about it. It wasn't news until he reported it, which is really weird.
And I don't mind Shams. I've never met Woj. I don't think I've met Shams.
I can't stand that guy.
Shams.
Yeah.
I met him a couple of times, and he's as weird as you would think. He has perverted the job a little bit, and understand what I mean by that. Like, remember he announced that President Trump had COVID?
Did he? No, I didn't remember. He broke that news?
And then because of my job, I've turned off like all my Twitter notifications. My phone doesn't blow up for anything other than Woj bombs and sham tweets. That's when my phones get notifications sent through. So that's how I learned that Joe Biden was stepping away from the election as well, was Shams retweeted it or had tweeted after the release had come out. So I actually have used Shams a little bit for
news,
world news that I would have gotten otherwise.
Uh-huh.
But Shams has, to that point of what I'm saying, he's kind of perverted the job a little bit and dallied outside of sports. He's tried to get his hands everywhere he can.
I do not like it that he carries water for LeBron. We're going to go back in history and look at people's reporting surrounding Bronny James before and after the draft, and you're going to point out exactly which reporters are on LeBron's payroll, and he was on one of them. Don't sell me Bronny James. Don't sell me that as a thing.
Yeah. They're trying.
Because not one person that knows agrees with you, but yet people are like, oh, Shams says he's a top 20 guy.
He's only working out with 2 teams. The team his dad plays for and the number 3 draft pick team.
That's it.
He's one of the 2.
That's it.
Yeah.
I don't care for that. Or who's the bozo on FS1? I never watched this show. I just saw clips of it. What's his name? With the stupid hair who made fun of Utah last year. Nick something.
Oh, Nick Wright.
Yeah.
The long hair.
Yeah, that guy. Like, I think Bronny could go 3.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how you know somebody's directly sold out.
Yeah.
Right?
It's not great.
So, no, I don't like Shams.
Well.
No, I don't care for his work.
Get used to him.
Who was it that was reporting that Bronny could go to the Danny Ainge was interested?
Yeah.
And that the Jazz could go for him with what? Number 10 or whatever?
Well, that was our friend Kristen.
That wasn't Kristen, was it?
Yeah. She broke that. She had been told that. She wouldn't just make that up. So, yeah. That the Jazz were interested in bringing him for a workout.
Well, that's to report that they're interested in bringing him in for the workout. But there were people that were running with that to be like,
yes.
Will they take him at 10?
No.
I don't think Kristen was doing that.
No, she never did. No, she said there was interest in a workout. That's all I'd heard.
Well, that could, of course, be true.
Jazz
they work out everybody.
Yeah, guys weren't going to get drafted ever.
Remember when Dennis Lindsey worked out like 200 people one summer or something like
Jazz
that?
still do that. Still over 100 players every year. So,
Yeah.
yes, I'm sure they were interested in bringing in Bronny.
Does that mean Danny could take him at 10? No, that's not what that means.
Not at all.
That's not the case. I love it how Bronny, I can't remember who reported that Bronny moved up the board to exactly number 50 right after the combine.
It was like 51.
It was
and
like,
the Lakers were
look
drafting 52.
Look at the post-combine rankings. Bronny right there. I mean,
yeah. Pretty transparent.
The guy who averaged 2.5 points a game at USC, that one? Up to 51, huh?
Former Jazz assistant coach is now his head coach with the South Bay Lakers.
You mean the worst job in sports? Yeah.
Yeah.
Because when he inevitably fails, who do you think is going to take the place?
Zach Guthrie, who is kind of Quinn's guy from the Austin Toros all the way up.
Zach's going to have that job for 10 minutes.
Yeah. LeBron's going to have him on speed dial.
Go ask SMU's head coach how that goes. Anywho. All right. Well, we'll step aside. We're still hoping for players over at Utah Hockey Club Media Day over at the Delta Center. Cohabitating the building right now with the doTERRA convention, which is an interesting mix.
Because apparently hockey pads smell horrendous.
Right. Or notoriously stinky, right?
Stinky. It's like the stinkiest sport. Worse than football.
doTERRA also involves smell.
Yeah. So it's a combination of lavender and human sweat.
Well, the odd part about the doTERRA convention, from someone who worked over there for a long time, I don't know how many different fragrances they have, but it's like all of them mixed into one. That's what the building smells like.
Yeah.
It's not just lavender. It's all of it.
Yeah.
And then throw hockey pads on top of it. I'm sure it's a wild aroma over there right now.
And it's strong.
All right, stay tuned. More Jake and Ben coming up next. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Jake and Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Join Hanson Scotty coming up tomorrow from 1 to 3 for the Ute Preview Show, brought to you by Beehive Meals, proud meal partner for Utah Athletics. We also want to remind you about our friends at Peach Doors and Windows. Amazing home transformations begin with Peach, where 5-star reviews are the norm. Call them today for your free in-home estimate, 801-566-1255. Peach Doors and Windows. Survived the rain yesterday, Ben?
It was crazy. It was a real storm.
It was a real storm, yes.
That blew in and was loud. I'm in a new house, so I had not heard the hail and what it sounds like in the new house yet. And
how'd that go?
It's loud.
Was it loud?
It's an old house. It's not a new house. It's an old house, but I've been living there newly. It was loud.
So we have I have an older house too, and we have a back, I don't know, deck, but it's not much of a deck, but it's a back deck, and it has a roof on it, like a metal,
like an aluminum one,
like an aluminum metal roof. And so if it does hail, I mean, it does. It sounds like gunshots. It's so loud.
Yeah.
Even when it rains, it's loud. But if it starts to hail, look out.
Yeah, the firebombing. Yeah, that's what it sounds like for me too. That my old house had that exact same thing, the little metal cover, so you knew it was hailing immediately. Yeah,
immediately, even if you were in a deep sleep.
Yeah, it's coming.
Even if you crashed after a hard day, even if you were in the basement.
Yeah, brutal.
So that's kind of funny. All right. Well, I'm glad. Hopefully everybody out there did all right in the rain. It is Media Day for the Utah Hockey Club, so Ben and I are kind of, filling in the gaps. We had a run of the front office, and now we're waiting on player interviews, which I think are the best part of any media day. Are the players. You get a lot of, coaches are usually pretty good, but you get a lot of optimistic kind of coach speak out of front office and coaches during media days. But players, you often get a little more relaxed because nobody's, lost yet. And usually can get a little more introspective.
If I had a question, and I'm not there, but if I had a question for...
Well, you cover basketball, Ben. Usually basketball reporters aren't at hockey press conference.
But one of my questions would be, especially, and this is actually geared more towards Bill Armstrong or Andre Tourigny or whoever, Chris Armstrong, whoever is, running the show. And everybody here in Salt Lake is going to give them a honeymoon period of at least a year. You know what I mean? Like, if honestly they were to come out and win fewer games this year than they did last year, fans would still be okay with it.
I agree. Have you ever, well, probably not, because I think you've been in Salt Lake most, if not all of your life. Have you ever been through an expansion process? Well, RSL had this. I lived in Charlotte, North Carolina, the first year the Hornets were a thing.
Right.
And let me tell you, they were terrible.
Yeah.
And that building was
rocking
and packed for every single game. There is an enthusiasm to the new. So I do agree with that. The question is, how long does it last?
Well, and then my real question is like, okay, well, that's okay here. They're not actually an expansion franchise.
But the same thing applies.
All of these players have been through a lot of losing seasons in a row. They want to shake this toxic culture that they have had in Arizona that has gone through a half dozen head coaches, several general managers, now new ownership, finally. But really, they've had a couple of owners. Morello was the owner, was terrible. The owner before that wasn't good either. They want to shake this losing mentality that they've had. So while, yes, it's easy to have this honeymoon period where everyone just pats you on the back, whether you lose by 6 goals or win, they probably don't want that. So how do they avoid, I guess, falling into that culture? It's like if you were to change jobs right now and you were to have to take a $20,000 pay cut, move to a new state, and everyone would be like, hey, you're doing a great job at work. Really happy to have you here. And you'd be like, yeah, but I'm broke and I need to make more money. I need to have some success. Me just being here and it being new doesn't have the same cachet as it does for you. It doesn't do for me what it might be doing for you just because I'm new here for you. So...
I think the whole franchise is using it as an excuse to start over. I agree with that point.
So I wonder how they are feeling about that, because I bet you Bill Armstrong wants to win, and I bet you Andre Tourigny wants to get to the playoffs because they've been leading teams that don't go to the playoffs for a while now. I bet you they do want to get back. Now maybe they are embracing, this is an expansion year, we can hit the reset button, we can chill a little bit, but I bet they want to win. I bet they're kind of sick of what they're doing. Now Chris Armstrong today, the president of the Utah Hockey Club, he was the first interview, and you can go back and find all these at KSLSports.com and follow.
It's nice that we only have to remember one last name for the front office.
The Armstrongs.
It's nice. It's like, well, Armstrong.
Or go follow Cole Bagley on Twitter, Bagley KSL Sports. But he's at Media Day right now covering all of this. I He did say that like their expectation is not to make the playoffs. He kind of bluntly said
he did say that. I'm glad you mentioned that because that jumped out to me too.
He said, because Cole asked him, what does a successful season look like in year one? Do you expect to be hosting playoff hockey at the end of the year? And he said kind of bluntly, that's not our expectation. Not that they wouldn't welcome it, certainly.
He said he wanted to compete for it, but he didn't say that they expected
like
that.
That's not the line of success, pass or fail.
Oh, I loved hearing it, honestly. And you never hear it in the NBA because the NBA, they're too used to lying about trying to win or not trying to win. But I found that actually really refreshing. And I don't know if it's some sort of tool to set the expectations low to make sure that you exceed them in this first year of excitement. There might be some of that in there, I guess. But, I mean, Danny Ainge certainly and Justin Zanuck haven't said, yeah, we don't expect to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
I've never heard that ever out of either one of those guys, I don't think.
Right. No, totally right. Even Danny Ainge last year, and a lot of Jazz fans kind of were mad about it, he said, yeah, we want to make the playoffs.
He said right up until the trade deadline, I don't know if he said this publicly or it was just kind of the buzz, but like he said, I'll keep everybody together if I think we can win a round in the playoffs.
Yeah.
I mean, that was the buzz until February.
Right. And then it obviously fell apart.
He didn't think they could win a round, and so did what he did.
Which was the right move. But he hurt himself a little bit, at least in the eyes of some Jazz fans, by saying, yeah, we'd love to make the playoffs. Like, players, go do it. Go take us to the playoffs. I don't think he was that. Danny wasn't going to lose sleep whether they made the playoffs or not, but I do think Jazz fans heard that and heard the word playoffs and thought, okay, well, that's the goal, is the playoffs. The hockey club has not said that, at least today.
In fact, said
Chris
the opposite.
Armstrong said, no, that's not the line of a successful season.
But you know what? And I think Bill Armstrong said this, that they're not going to blow the team apart like they have in previous years. And he referenced that a lot of these players have had the team blown apart around them multiple times, and they're done doing that.
Yeah.
And he was really frank about that. I was surprised about that too. Maybe it's just the culture in hockey as opposed to the NBA, where the NBA, they just work so hard to tell you absolutely nothing.
Yeah, agreed.
Maybe in hockey, maybe it's a little more transparent, which that's pretty nice. But yeah, he flat out said, hey, we've blown it apart in the past. I don't expect to do. He didn't even say. He said it more definitively than I don't expect. He basically said we're not going to do that.
I might be wrong, but from what I have gathered, following, because I'm not going to pretend I've covered the NHL closely for a long time, I haven't. What I have gathered, though, is there's a real belief that if you make the Stanley Cup, you've got a chance to win. The teams that make it that far go in to make noise in the playoffs, where even in the NBA, because
if you make it to the playoffs,
half the leagues.
Hold on. You said make it to the Stanley Cup.
Oh,
make it
to the
playoffs.
The Stanley Cup playoffs,
I
not
was
the finals.
Right,
yes.
I was a little confused. Okay, go ahead.
If you make it to the playoffs, you expect to make noise.
Because if you make it to the finals, you made
you've
it
already
to the
done
finals. Anywho, I get your point. If you make it to
the playoffs, you feel like you have an actual chance to make a run. Where still in the NBA playoffs, half the league makes it. About 5 of the teams think they have a chance to do something. So there is this weird lie of making it to the playoffs in the NBA where you go just to say you went, not because you're actually competing to win a title.
Well, because hockey is crazy random. Hockey playoffs are crazy random. Like games could go either way. It's because there's not as much scoring.
Yeah, exactly.
Like if you get a lucky couple of goals,
you get a hot goaltender.
Yeah, or absolutely the best example. You get a goaltender standing on his head. It makes all the difference in the world. It's it's similar to baseball in a way where if you have a dominant pitcher, it can make a serious difference in the series home road or wherever. The NBA is not like that. Basketball is much more. There's so many opportunities to score. The best team comes out on top, especially in the playoffs, more often than not.
Yeah.
And it makes home court advantage less valuable. So you can win on the road much easier.
Yep.
Which makes for a much
better series,
but with a more in-doubt outcome.
Yeah, more parity.
So if you can get there, you can win it, absolutely, to back you up. All right. Still waiting on some players. Utah Hockey Club Media Day. We'll have more coming up next. Do we want to try and do top 3 stories next if we have time?
I would think these players are coming out, but maybe I'm wrong. We'll play it by ear.
We've been thinking they've been coming out for the last half hour.
Where are you, Clayton?
It's been 30 minutes.
Hey, Sergachev.
They've been telling us 2 minutes Turkish for the last 30 minutes.
Yeah, we'll see.
Stay tuned. More next. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.